I'm doing all this, I'll probably end up re-recording some of this stuff too. Okay, land descriptions. This is where Esley has promised to help me out tonight, right, Esley? Okay, what is a land description? Stop, let's go back a minute. What is a land, when you think about a piece of land, what would it be a description? What would tell you?
A tree mark.
A tree mark. Okay. How long or wide, something that would tell you this piece of land, dimensions, the address. An address is what we actually use in our real estate contracts, but address is not valid to transfer deed, but it's totally valid for the real estate contracting process part of our transaction. It just doesn't make it for us for the final transfer. Address works great for leases. Totally fine, because we're not transferring a deed with a lease. We're just renting a property for a period of time. So address works. Now, in commercial leases, though, where somebody leases a lot of the property or industrial commercial type lease, they actually get a legal description, much like a deed. They get a full legal description. Why? Because they want to make sure that they are entitled to use the whole piece. So they will go forward and actually ask for a legal description to be attached part of it. So what are land descriptions? Legal descriptions. A description of a parcel of land that will be accepted by the courts because it's complete enough to locate and identify the premises. It must describe an area that is bounded completely. What's that mean? It comes to a close. It has a starting and ending point that are the same place. So, I'm Joyce, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to go grab a legal description. Does that mean I'm going to be able to read the dang thing? No. Esley, can you still read a legal description?
Yes.
Because you did it for how many years? Oh, yeah, because part of your job. Yes. Okay, but most of us, okay, so the other real estate people in your office are coming to Esley to help me figure out what I'm starting and what I'm stopping here. Because most of us can't read a legal description. It doesn't mean anything to us. But it's enough information that the courts can say, when we hire a surveyor, they're going to be able to figure out what we got. So we have professionals that do this. Remember that. You're realtors. You're not the surveyors. You can find a professional to help you do it. So they reference other documents. So meets and bounds. We talked about these in the other class. A method of describing land by specifying the exterior boundaries of the property, using compass directions, monuments, or landmarks where directions change, and linear measurement of distances between these points. How often are old rocks or trees or something, the fence posts, not there anymore? So what do you do?
Follow the rules of boundary surveying set forth by that.
So you resurvey it if they're missing, or you just do the distance?
You can do a resurvey basically of the property and place set the missing monuments.
Okay, so with a pin, an iron pin or something like that. But then that's up to the property owner at the time of sale to probably get a new survey.
In the Hamilton County, if you have like a really old deed and it doesn't close, they'll require you to have it resurveyed before they'll record it.
Okay, and that would then be upon the seller to have to resurvey it, because the buyer's going, wait a minute, man. You told me you had good title, that you were able to transfer property to me. So the seller's going to have to pay to have this done. But so how do you find iron pins other than with a metal detector? I mean, you kind of look at where the property boundary line you think it is, and you go back to that point in the yard somewhere, and you're digging around trying to find the iron pin. What really pisses me off in Hamilton County, and they do this all over state, Ohio, when you put a fence up, they don't make you get a survey. So now they're starting to require it. But what are they doing right off the bat by not making people get surveys? They're having neighbor against neighbor, pitting neighbor against neighbor. So if they would simply say, part of giving you a permit is requiring you to also have a survey. Don't have to do the whole property, but if you're going to put a fence on this property line, then you need to survey that property line so that everybody knows that you're putting it in the right place. Depending upon where you live, your fence requirements and what style fence you have, it can be right on the property line, or it may have to sit 6 inches off the property line or some distance. Again, depending upon what kind of fence it is. But it would make a whole lot more sense if they required these. And again, so the person putting up the fence knows in order to put up a fence, they're going to pay for a property survey. That's enough to stop them right there before they have to pay for a few $100. But again, that should be done early on.
I think most fence companies
man.
Like a reputable friend, because they get dragged into court.
All the time, yes.
They don't want to end up with that.
But any homeowner can go to Home Depot and buy all their own fencing material and put it up, which is what we did with our neighbor one year. Yeah. Not only did he not know how to do it, he just didn't even know how to install it. It was just like, oh my God.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I bought my farm 2 years ago, and I was asking them, where's the property line? I was thinking of it, he said, see that tree right there? Your property runs from that tree all the way down to the creek. From the creek, you go over, there's another tree, right? Then you come back up here, all the way back to that post right there. That's your property. I said, oh, great. Great. I'm not supposed to remember that. So we had to serve.
And you made him do it as part of selling the property to you?
Yeah, that was part of the transfer.
Part of the transfer, yeah. And so, again, even to transfer properties today, they don't require surveys in a lot of properties. If they have what they think is a reasonable legal description, they do not require surveys. A smart and prudent realtor is going to ask for a survey. And especially the more valuable the property, the more not residential but commercial. Generally in commercial, we get surveys all the time. Residential, we don't see them. But the more prudent you are, you may say, let's get a survey done. A call is a term referred to the monuments, courses, and distances that make up a meets and bounds description. Adjoining landowners, adjoiners are also important elements in some of these descriptions. I can imagine an old farm where they talk about the people that actually live there as part of the legal description. And because these people live there generations, and they didn't move very often. A rectangular survey system is a system of land description that applies to most of the land in the United States. What do we have here?
We have, well, it depends on what county. Hamilton County is actually the beginning of the first county that was actually started the rectangular system in the United States.
But unless it's a newer property, we don't necessarily see rectangular. It could still be meets and bounds.
They'll tie it to a section corner, but it's not like in Indiana when they'll say the third, the southeast quarter of the southeast section.
Okay.
They use, it still meets and bounds.
Okay. So we're used, because that's what I'm used to seeing.
But they'll call out a section line or a section corner, it'll be in section, like you go to the courthouse, everything's organized by section, township, range, and there's
Plat books.
township book.
Yeah, the plat books. Okay. So, the rectangular system land description, again, township is an area of land approximately 6 miles square. Okay, this is one you always need to know for your real estate tests. Township is an area of land approximately 6 miles square, containing as nearly as possible 23,040 acres, divided into 36 sections, each 1 mile square. A section, an area of land approximately 1 mile square, containing as nearly as possible 640 acres. These are numbers that you should commit to memory right before you go take your real estate test. I guarantee you at least one of these numbers will be on your test somewhere. I tried not to ask you these, but I can't remember the test I made, but there are some numbers to commit to memory. In the Real Estate Principles book, it's in one of the covers where it has some numbers for you to memorize. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about it here, but just know when you start seeing these, the 36, the 640, the 23,040, and how many square, 43,640 is 43,560 is an acre. An acre. See, it's been a while, but I knew close.
Real quick, on the real estate test, all this where we have to northwest quarter by this blah, blah, do we have, how specific do they get that?
They don't get very specific on the test. They don't. What you need to understand for the real estate test, understand whether you're looking at a meets and bounds or whether you're looking at a rectangular survey by how it's started out. And then you'll be able to guess the answer.
So like one of the questions here for 16, they want us to draw the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, have fun.
Not really.
Yes. You all need to know that specifically for the state exam.
Okay.
But you do need to know the other numbers I was talking about again.
Okay.
When it starts to start talking about the legal description, it might ask you, what does this resemble? And you'll know, again, what is this kind of information telling me?
Thank you.
Plat. A map showing items such as the natural and artificial monuments, lots, blocks, streets in town or subdivision, generally drawn from a survey. So Hamilton County, you can go down to the courthouse and you can see Plat books. Plat books are huge books, but they're great history. And you pull them out and you can go see them. When I worked at SUI, I went down to Florence, down in Kentucky. I had to go pull a bunch of Plat books there. Yeah, and was just digging through dusty piles of stuff to try to go into stuff. But it was cool. It's cool, fun work. Boundary disputes. The intention of the parties establishing a boundary should prevail. So, what were the intention of the parties when they were originally dividing property? The doctrine of agreed boundaries. So if I got a huge lot, okay, my mother-in-law, like I said, she's got a side yard, and people keep saying she should sell off her side yard. So she would go want to partition the property to split it off. What were they doing at the time? What was her intent at the time they're trying to split this property? Are they trying to equalize? What were they trying to do? Split it down the middle? Where was their mind? So that would be the doctrine of agreed boundaries. Sales personnel and property description can help with some of the boundary disputes. I'll tell you, you're a realtor. What do you know about boundary disputes? There are professionals. We'll hire a professional to help us get the answer. Then you don't get a lawsuit. Then you don't get accused from doing something you shouldn't have said you did or you didn't know. There are professionals. We'll find a person who gets to help us out. That's it. We're done. We're done. Any questions?